radio, transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
Galnet News Update, 27th of April 3309. Remote-controlled probes have successfully penetrated to the heart of Maelstrom Tyrannus, but they've failed to return any data about what they encountered. Aegis's Professor Alba Tesreau explained that the probes were used to test the agency's prototype pulse neutralizers, which were developed with input from engineers Ishmael Palin and Ram Tah. The engineers' research into unclassified relics, which are created using Guardian technology at Thargoid surface sites, allowed them to enhance Elvira Martuk's shutdown field neutralizer to repulse the huge energy wave emitted by the Maelstroms when an intruder gets close to the centre. Using the pulse neutralizers, the probes successfully passed through the energy field and are believed to have arrived at or very close to the core of the Maelstrom before contact was abruptly lost. Tesreau said that it was likely that only manned vessels will be able to negotiate the unknown threats that lie beyond the energy pulse. Admiral Aidan Tanner has already fitted the device to a full-size spacecraft, which has been tested in combat against Thargoids, but which has not yet been taken into a Maelstrom. He described how the device is used in exactly the same way as a shutdown field neutralizer, but that its greater mass and power draw will probably mean that it's best suited for work carried out within the Maelstrom. Aegis is working on a production schedule for the Thargoid pulse neutralizer, and hopes to have more details to share within the next few days. It's unclear whether there'll be a community initiative to set up production, and if so, whether those who take part will be granted early access to the technology. It's also unclear how the modules will be sold. If they're made available through tech brokers, for example, what materials may be needed. It's also unclear whether commanders will be expected to bring their own unclassified relics in order to buy the module. Aegis appears to be keen to make the module available as widely as possible, so it's likely that they'll keep the bar to entry into the Pulse Neutralizer Owners Club as low as they can manage. Emperor Arissa Lavigny Duval has condemned the Imperial forces that attacked and destroyed a federal convoy taking supplies to the Thargoid front line near Maelstrom Lygong, and has demanded an immediate cessation of the war in Pitchich. The conflict in the federal system of Pitchich broke out following false claims that the assassination of a Cain Massey top executive was sponsored by the Empire. Thousands of lives on both sides have been lost, but it's the disruption to supplies for those fighting against the Thargoid invasion that seems to have most upset the Emperor. Those fighting for the Gliese 44 Citizens Forum attacked and destroyed a supply convoy, apparently mistaking it for a local resupply effort within Pitchich. She's commanded an immediate ceasefire, and President Hudson has responded in kind, instructing the Galuja Exchange to put down their weapons and to negotiate a peaceful resolution. The week-long skirmish has impacted on humanity's attempts to turn back the Thargoids. But now the Emperor and the President have intervened, we must hope that common sense and a sense of solidarity against a common enemy will prevail.
We've been lucky for a long time. Earth's green again, Mars ain't red anymore, and your biggest worry has been carrier upkeep. But what happens if that changes? How are you going to keep your piece of the galaxy safe when the unknown comes at you fast? Manticore. We'll give you the power to fight back, no matter what comes your way, because family's important. And you, well, you're family now. Manticore, come join the family.
Sweet dreams, little ones. You rest up in your hangar bay, because in the morning, you'll wake up to smell fresh laser fire, because you're in a Federal Corvette. And there's one thing that a core dynamic ship does well, and that's kill ships. Big ships, small ships, rings of ships. We even have a go at booping asteroids. Enemy shields down! Enemy dead! There's no further targets, Commander! That's all you'll ever have to say in a Federal Corvette. Core dynamics! Let's not talk about skimmers.
New from Azimuth Biotech, it's Tickle Me Thargoid. Tickle Me Thargoid is fun for all the family. Teach your little anti-Xeno commander the difference between an Orthrus and a Cyclops, a Basilisk and a Medusa.
Count the hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a Cyclops.
All Tickle Me Thargoids spray realistic caustic clouds.
Not near the curtains. I love you, Tickle Me Thargoid.
Tickle Me Thargoid. Available now from branches of Lave Toy Depot and other retailers.
Oi, how you doing, my brother? So you run some data and you left your little sidey and you're starting to think about maybe a ship that can punch a little bit harder. Well, the Killback, the one with the little flappy wings, is just what the doctor ordered. It is multi-crew enabled and is the smallest ship with a fighter bay, so you can point and they will do your bidding. Ha! It's got 3 utility mounts, 2 small and 2 medium hard points, plus a whole batch of compartments. So if you want a bit of fun, grab a Killback, my son.
Touchdown, this place is bubbling. Watch them run, watch them fly, have a drink, start a fire, climb a ship, see the size. For the first time, touchdown, we are greeting. See the look in their eyes on the highway, surprise of a fight for their lives. Yeah, we are meeting. Let's start this odyssey. Brave steps in front of me. My eyes so wide to see this future. Let's make this odyssey. Frontiers for us to see. Vistas so wide, this is the future. Embrace the future. Bullets fall like burning chaff. The celebration turns to violence. Laser fire makes shields go blue. Explosions fill my ringing rings. Humanity has come to stay. With all our faults, fears and anger. Joyous in this wondrous fall. Or let me slip away. Let's start this odyssey. Brave steps in front of me. My eyes so wide to see this future. Let's make this odyssey. Frontiers for us to see. Vistas so wide, this is the future. Embrace the future.
Hello and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings and welcome to Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders.
Greetings, Commanders.
The show that talks about the universe of Elite
And the development of the computer game Elite 4, known as Elite Dangerous.
and the fantastic
Community that surrounds it.
Broadcast from an orange Sidewinder and hosted by a vending machine technician.
A place of nonsense and innuendo for forum dads. A self-contained podcast 2 hours long.
Transmitting to every corner of the galaxy.
It's even louder than me.
The hottest show this side of Dizzo.
The name of the place.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Lave Radio.
Greetings, Commanders, and welcome to episode 439 of Lave Radio, the show about the universe of Elite and the fantastic community that surrounds it. I'm your host, Commander Psychit, and joining me in the Orange Sidewinder bar for this episode are SRV Banksy, Alec Turner.
Good evening, good evening. I like that. The fast community that surrounds it. Nice Freudian slip.
I know. I've done that like 4 times. Every time I read this out, you'd think it's been 4 weeks now of me doing this. You'd think I'd have got it by now, but I still haven't. And we again, because of real life shenanigans and lots of different types of stuff, we do not have a Ben and we do not have a Colin, but we do have a amazing human being who I love very much with all of my heart. We have the Chris Mark 4.
Hello, I'm definitely getting that
right?
put on my business card. Yeah, that's spot on.
Incredible. It is the 3 of us again this week. My apologies. I hope to see Ben back and Colin back soon. That would be lovely. We love them very much and we can't wait to get back to a full strength crew. If you do wish, you can join us live. You can join the Chris Mark 4 live, who's hanging out in Lave Station at the bar. But if you can't get in game, you can join the Twitch chat channel, which you can access through laveradio.com/live and clicking on live chat and by going to twitch.tv/laveradio. Hi, everybody. How you all doing? It's very good to be here today on a week before update day. Let's find out how you've been in the last week. Alec, what have you been up to?
Hello. Well, I've been knackered at the moment. I've been working on this our sort of spare bedroom. So the latest on that, we had a new carpet put down, which is inevitably a bit thicker than the old carpet. So I had to take the door off and shave a bit off the bottom of the door. Then we had a flat pack IKEA bed show up, which came in way more boxes than I would have predicted and was way heavier than I would have predicted. So that was an absolute exhausting beast to assemble. And also with that, something I've never seen in my life before, I didn't know IKEA and other places, I guess, did this, is a vacuum packed rolled up mattress.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good mattress, but it came like rolled up and vacuum packed. And then the minute you sort of pierce the bag, it starts hissing like one of those inflatable lifeboats. And then you have approximately 30 seconds to get it in place before it suddenly bursts and sort of it expands to a full-size mattress.
Yeah.
In game, I have been very busy doing sort of buckyball stuff, doing doing a nice banner for it, making a tutorial video for it, posting a forum thread for it, creating a Discord event, doing a submission to the Frontier Community event calendar, updating the Buckyball website, doing promotion. Quite a lot goes into a race, you know.
I do know.
And I have, I got my, I finally managed to get my Hero Ferrari invite, which I gather can be bugged. So I feel quite honoured to have been invited to go and visit Hero Ferrari.
That's the one that you have to do the covert missions, is that right?
No, it's the low CZs.
Oh, okay.
All you have to do, and I realise I'm way behind people like Chris, who's got grade 5 gear or whatever it is. I had to do 10 low level combat zones, but I haven't done any, so it's quite fun doing those. And I think I got to the point where I'd done about 12 or 14 according to my codex, and thinking, hang on a minute, this doesn't seem right. I'm sure I've done 10 by now. So I did lots of Googling, and apparently it's bugged, and you might have to get 20, or it's a bit random. But anyway, finally got my invite. Oh, and I discovered something on doing those low CZs, which is probably bloody obvious to most people, but you don't need to bother with frontline solutions, which is awesome.
I thought you had to get the invite.
Interesting.
That was my understanding. I might be completely wrong by that. I swear I've been told that before.
No. Okay, that could explain it. There seems to be a lot of FUD about what does and doesn't trigger the invite. But sometimes I would just fly there in my ship and do it, and other times I'd go to frontline and take a taxi, and other times I go to frontline and then fly myself and think, why did I bother with the frontline? I don't know. It seems a bit weird. You have to go there to hand in your bonds, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Kremen's just said in the Twitch chat that you have to do 10 lows using frontline. I was pretty sure that was the case, and his citation is that he's done it with 2 accounts exactly the same way. So one can only assume that is potentially correct.
Right. Well, I will withdraw that from this week's Mostly Clueless then, and say you do need to go to Frontline Solutions.
Cracking.
The people at Frontline Solutions have got to fill the form out in triplicate and send the bottom copy, the red copy's got to get posted off to the engineer, so it's officially true.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it? If you go there in your own ship, they don't get their red copy. I see it now.
Yeah, you don't have to fill in that last copy to say that Frontline took you. That's it. We've learned. We know we know the secrets. We've given it a dubious law event as well. Chris, how are you doing? Why did I stutter your name? I know that name quite well. How are you doing? What have you been up to?
I am all right. I'm confused enough not to know my own name myself, so it's not too bad. I'm finally a bit quieter at work at the moment, which is good because I've been running about manic the last few weeks. Last week was quite good. Obviously after sort of chatting to you all on Tuesday night, I had a little bit of work, and then I went off on Friday for Star Wars for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. I feel that I've been revisiting old films a lot recently because I went to see Superman a couple of weeks ago, and this week was Return of the Jedi on the big screen, which was excellent. If there's one way to pack a cinema, it seems to be showing old classics at the moment, because the cinema was absolutely rammed for it. So that was really, really good. And then, being a bank holiday weekend, I got to chill out a little bit on Monday yesterday. I went to an oat mill, an old oat mill. It's one of the last surviving oat mills, local oat mills. It's run by the National Trust, and it's a bit down the road. And I was like, I've never been. So I went off and explored an oat mill, which has apparently been an Outlander. So I have been reliably informed, but I've not seen the show.
If ever there was some kind of way to qualify being Scottish.
An oat mill.
Yeah. An oat mill,
I went to an oat mill.
I went to an oat mill. If you really want to put icing on that particular cake, I then had haggis for dinner last night.
I was going to say, did you go to a haggis farm?
just to like encompass the entire stereotype, you know. I'll stop short.
Did you have a deep fried Mars bar. That's the last bit that you need.
It's like the last bit.
That's the last bit. There's your trifecta of Scott.
Sadly, I did not manage to cover the. I did not manage to cover it all by getting the deep fried Mars bar. I did find.
Did you have an iron brew? Yeah.
Iron brew. I did have.
Amazing.
And today I found out a recipe for leftover haggis is you can do haggis nachos. So haggis nachos were the dinner tonight to try and use up the remainder of a haggis. So there you go, just to cover the full Scottish spectrum.
Like a chili kind of thing, but haggis instead on nachos.
Yeah. So like instead of putting beef,
that sounds amazing.
Beef chili on top, you sort of scatter some haggis in there, and then you do your usual with sort of salsa and jalapenos or whatever you want to put on there, and then and bang it under the grill. Lovely.
Oh my god, that genuinely sounds incredible. Wowza.
In game.
What
have I done in game? What have I done in the actual game? I've not done a lot. I've still not completed all my suits, Alec. You'll be pleased to know you could lap me. I know that you're known for
very
speed.
Unlikely. I have zero grade 4 stuff, let alone grade 5.
So you've got the chance of lapping me. But yeah, I've just done a couple of missions. I only had a few hours in game this week, so not done tons. Though I'm kind of wanting, not spoilers for coming ahead, I'm kind of wanting to get involved in the CG this week. I might head over. I've not done a CG in ages.
There's something. There's something kind of. Oh, this is going to sound really stupid in comparison to everything else that happens in the world and inconsequential. There is something slice of elite history about it, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibes I'm getting. It was literally, I did, as soon as this is like, we'll circle back around to it, but as soon as it popped up today, I was like, right, we're going, we have to participate, we have to have a name on some part of it. It looks really cool. What have I been up to this week? Not a huge amount. We went and visited. This is dog stuff. It's always dog stuff with me, but we went and because ECM is happening and Artie's going to be on his own for a couple of days. We went and it's August, so it's really tricky. We went and we found a dog boarder, so a house sort of like about half an hour's drive from us, who just like look after dogs and will look after dogs for a couple of days. And we went and visited them for the first time last week. They were bloody lovely and Artie loved them. And Artie's a really nervous dog because we brought him up during lockdown, so he didn't get a lot of other dog on dog interaction kind of thing. Not like that.
Sorry, I'm filling in for Ben.
Yeah, I can. Not like that, but he's not very good around other dogs. He's really nervous. He's super defensive. But they've got this soppy Labrador, golden retriever. They've got this really soppy golden retriever who was lovely and super patient with him. So that was cool. So he's gone and seen them, and that was really good. I didn't really get up to much else. It's been a really, really busy week. One of those weeks where I've had loads of stuff on, and I've been to loads of meetings and things regarding a ton of different projects. And some of them are super secret, exciting projects, and some of them are just stuff that I'm not in a position to be able to share anything about yet. So it feels like I've not done a lot, but I've been so busy. It's been nuts. We watched. I did finally get around to watching In the Heights, which is a musical by Lin-Manuel Miranda. I thought it was going to be fantastic. First half is really weak, so I was a little bit disappointed about that. I watched one of the worst Formula Ones of my entire life. I hated it. I hate the new sprint. Why are they doing that? It's horrible and I hate it. Please don't do. Formula 2 has such a really, really good sprint format, and I really love F1 to take it, but the teams voted against it and it's rubbish. I'm going to rant for ages about it, so I will stop myself right now. I've ranted a lot about that. And yeah, that's been about my week. I've it's been a busy non-eventful week, but really busy, I guess. In game, I've also not done much. I've done a bit of Maelstrom diving. I've done some Maelstrom diving. I did some Maelstrom diving on Thursday, and built a Mamba specifically on the advice of Clipturn. Built a Mamba specifically just for diving into the center and getting buffeted back by the pulse wave, so I could get more of the wave data.
Interesting. What's the thinking of the Mamba?
It's quick and it can go. Once you sort of maneuver it past the caustic sinks, it's pretty good at getting away when the Thargoids see you. It's barely engineered. It's got dirty drives and the frameshift drive is engineered, and those are the only two things that I've got. And it's also, because it's got 6 utility slots, it's got 5 caustic sinks on it with extra ammo, and then one pulse neutralizer, or shutdown field neutralizer, which works ever so slightly works a little bit against the big pulse thing, as in it doesn't completely shut you down or totally mess with your internals, so you can keep doing it. So I was just sort of like, we go again on that, and that's really fun to just do. And then I also did some more of that recon limpet on the caustic sink generators to get enough of the bits of information that you need to unlock the caustic sinks for both Katie and Kremen, because neither of them could be bothered to do it. So I went and got them that. But that's been, and then I hopped over to the CG. That's literally been about my week in Elite. Alec?
Yeah, I just had a question. You said something there which made my ears prick up. Excuse the innuendo. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought. I know what I was going to say. Yeah, the shutdown field neutralizer, the one we've already got, does that make a tiny bit of difference then?
Tiny bit of difference, I found.
So what's the deal? It doesn't shut down all your modules, or
it doesn't shut down all the modules. So I find that I recover a lot quicker when I use it. I recover an awful lot quicker when I use it. I don't get the flash of everything being turned off. So I have a little bit more control, so I can go back round and do it again a bit quicker.
That's interesting.
So yeah, it's I just trying to. It was more of like a thought experiment of trying to find what are the best practices to get the materials that are inside the Maelstrom, because if we're looking at like previous knowledge, to get the stuff for the caustic sinks, you have to go inside the Maelstroms to get the caustic sinks.
Oh, you think the unlock? You think for when this thing appears at the tech brokers, there's going to be an unlock that needs a load of stuff?
Potentially, I'm thinking things like caustic crystals would, because they're quite far in to a Maelstrom. I think it's like if you the way that I would do it, given what's happened already, is the sort of like surface level stuff from the Maelstrom for the caustic sinks, and then when you get the caustic sink, you can dive a little bit further in. So the stuff like the caustic crystals, and even like the data that you get from the pulse or something like that. Even that, if that would be interesting to be part, or at least part of the unlock for the next thing. And then once you've done that, maybe then there's another wall that you have to climb over.
We might come on to it more, but I'm hoping they want some Grelics. Actually, I think that'd be a nice little twist. You got to deliver 3 or 4 Grelics.
For sure. So yeah, we've covered what we've been up to this week. Development news wise, what have the devs said this week? Okay, not much as far as what the devs have said. The Science Museum shenanigans are still on this Thursday.
Yes. 2 days.
I cannot wait. Cannot wait. My train tickets are booked. We're going. It's gonna be a lot of fun. I cannot wait to go and see some folks. And other than that, we haven't had news thus far saying that the update isn't coming out on the 9th. So no news is good news.
Surely they would wait until after they had seen everyone so that you can't sort of throw complimentary biscuits at them or something.
Last thing on no, hang on. Friday. It'll be Friday because Friday is the last working day before Tuesday. So we will know on Friday pretty much for sure whether or not the update's going to come out. That's interesting. I can't.
Yeah, I'm so jealous of y'all.
Fingers
going
crossed.
Down. So
yeah,
jealous.
I feel like a science museum comment along the lines of "So how are things going?" should elicit an appropriately
blink
Just
twice if it's coming out
a
on time.
raised eyebrow from Arthur.
Yeah.
A single raised eyebrow will be like, okay, we're not getting our hopes up.
should we have extra material?
I don't know how they'll I don't know how they'll answer it, or whether I'll even get a chance to ask it. But my one question I'm going to ask is, so is my race in jeopardy?
Oh man!
In any kind of way that I should know about in advance?
What? We'll come. Yeah. Oh man!
I'm not directly going to say our Thargoids going to start bursting out the tunnel and spoil my race, but I'm just going to, I think, ask if my race is going to go ahead as planned.
Incredible! Oh man! Awesome.
Thargoids invading the finish line.
Yeah.
No. Okay, so community news-wise, again, don't forget we've moved our community news right to the front of the show because we want to highlight everything that's happening every week and not every 4 weeks. So if you have an event coming up or there's a video that you've seen that you want to share that's come out recently, absolutely let us know. Tag us on Twitter is probably the best place to do it, or email info@laveradio.com. She says so tentatively. I think that's the thing. We've got all of our contact details on our website at laveradio.com. So community news, what are the community up to? We have a very beautiful picture from Amatwidal. I'm going with Amatwidal, who shared a beautiful image from Swallows with a bunch of numbers after it on Reddit. There are always majestic things to find out in the black. That Reddit post was made. That planet is super close.
It is. I love it. I love all the sort of scratches on its surface as well.
I know, it looks battle scarred, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's got a really cool look to it.
It's seen some things, that planet.
It's had a hard run, isn't it? It's the sort of green patches in that on it as well, the different colours. I quite like that.
Yeah, it really does look like it's been scratched by I don't know, like a scratch tabletop or something.
Yeah.
Stressed.
It's also, you'd think with it looking a bit like that you'd be able to see the tessellation a little bit more. And I think that's kind of a good example for not, like, even I'm looking at the two like black line marks as well.
Yeah.
They're not exactly the same. So
that really has quietened down, hasn't it? That tessellation issue.
I think maybe just like through many updates, they've been slowly just like playing with it and messing with it again and again. I'm sure there are still some that you can find. I'm not saying it's
the heat map effect of using the detailed surface scanner. You still sort of see it in that because obviously it suddenly makes everything monochrome. It's sort of blue or not blue, and it highlights little repeating patterns in the blue sometimes. But
and also
I haven't seen it outside of that.
Yeah, it's also that's kind of like where all of the important things are and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So it's trying to it's using AI, and as we well know, AI is not infallible. Yeah, beautiful image. That's very cool. The folks over at Morpheus Mining Corporation were in touch to let us know that they run several mining operations throughout the year, possibly one at least one a month. They use carriers and they jump to systems for offloading, allowing commanders to make upwards of 400 million credits per run. You can join Commander Project 676 and the rest of Morpheus Mining at their Discord. There is a link in the show notes where you can go and see that. And Commander Project 676 sent me a hell of a lot of images and stuff with regard to the Morpheus Mining Corporation. They go hard with their PR, and that was my favourite. So I shared the one with these ships in the atmosphere. I think it's beautiful. It's a really good image. So thank you so much for getting in touch. Really cool stuff, and the Discord is linked in the show notes.
Yeah, I should do one of these. I know there's quite a few groups who sort of do these coordinated mining runs occasionally, and they look like a really good laugh, actually. You know, a nice social event because it's not too intense. So I would imagine, I've not done one, that it's a nice opportunity to sort of, you know, chat while all doing a sort of communal thing.
I need to do one soon. I need to do some sort of mining. I've got like 27 iron on my entire ship, and I need more than that to be able to
You'll need more than that
synthesize anything.
for the SRV repairs in the next buckyball alone.
Oh crap! I don't have time to do that. Just going on a prayer at this point. Yeah, Morpheus Mining Corporation. Do check them out, please. Next on, we have Commander Beetlejude. You may have heard of her. She's got an amazing artist. She has been in touch to let me know that she is currently working on a book of her artwork.
Going to be amazing.
It's going to be incredible. She's got hundreds and hundreds of images that she's going to put into it. We have some of the images here that I think I put the first 3 pages in here. It is this what she's doing, and some of the stuff on the later pages with the way she's using color in these images is, oh my god, it's so beautiful. She's done such a good job. So
I don't know how she plans to release it, but you could actually, I don't know what size the audience for it would be, but you could go quite fancy on this, couldn't you? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people that would actually pay good money for a really nice bound kind of physical thing of this.
I think she's looking into that. I think she's looking into that at the moment while she's been making these. She's been looking into all of this. So
it's such a lovely thing.
It looks amazing. I would love to see that. And if you've not seen Beetlejude's YouTube before as well, seeing her putting one of these pictures together is amazing. She sort of does these sped up videos of creating the artwork, and it's stunning.
Yeah,
really worth.
I always find those amazing because it's not kind of intuitive if you're not an artist, I suppose. So the order that some of the layers goes in, you think she's just covered it all up again. What the hell? And then it kind of exposes itself again, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it's just a talent that I've not got, art like that. I can maybe draw a stick figure, and that's about as far as it can go. But yeah, Beetlejude is...
Yeah, to see the process, to be able to see in advance what order you need to put these layers down in, and yeah.
I wish I could do anything in like in real life rather than any of the stuff that I do is digital. Any sort of like thing that I make, it is stuff that I can just press undo and it's gone if I don't like it. But I lack both the skill and the patience to be able to make something as beautiful of the stuff that Jude does. She's an absolutely incredible artist. But yeah, hopefully we'll hear some more. But that was just a little teaser of Jude's hopefully new book. We also have is this one that you've added, Alec?
This is me. Yeah, I don't know if it qualifies. Well, it sort of qualifies. It's a year old, but I literally only just spotted it 2 days ago. I think I can't remember how I spotted it. Somebody recommended, or somebody tweeted about it. So this is Commander 42, possibly not making YouTubes anymore. It's a bit sort of hasn't been much activity on the channel, but there is this absolutely incredible pair of exploration videos, each about 20 minutes long, I guess, called The Personal Odyssey, Parts 1 and 2. The the cinematography is stunning and beautiful, and really interesting. There's sort of long shots and close-ups, and the music is incredible. There's a narrative that's done with text to speech, so there's like his voice and then the voice of his ship, and then we also get some flashbacks and stuff. So it's got this kind of a beautiful story running through it. It's really, really well done. Definitely worth shouting out because I don't know, it just sort of I missed it, and I think people should see it.
For sure, absolutely. I've just opened it up. I'm not watching it with any music or anything, but just from a quick first glance, that looks bloody stunning. And to think that was
Properly well
filmed
done.
a
It's
year
quite funny
ago.
as well as it's got its comedy moments as well. It's really well done.
Yeah, I only got to hear a little bit of the start of it with the computer generated voices, and it was a bit of fun. And then I had to start doing the show, and I was like, no, I've got to pause it now.
Yeah, it's good.
Awesome. We'll definitely take a look at that. Hey, anything starting on Saturday that might be quite interesting, Alec?
Yeah, we've talked a lot about this, but yes, the Buckyball race actually starts this Saturday, and I posted the forum thread up early because you do need to do a bit of prep for this one. Although the start line is prescribed and the place where you go and get a Thargoid sensor is prescribed, you're free to go and find Thargoid structures to land at. I've recommended 2. They're perfectly good if people not into route planning. The 2 I've recommended will get you a perfectly decent time, I suspect. But you can go to various websites and plan your own. And then there's some faffing that you kind of have to do, unfortunately. So in order to get these things to show up in your nav panel when you're in the middle, when you're trying to do it quickly, you sort of need to have been there once already with a surface scanner and probe the thing. And it's also if you haven't been to Thargoid structures before, the layout is worth getting to know because some of the tunnels are blocked, and so if you're in the middle of a fast run and you happen to park your ship right next to a blocked tunnel, then that's a bit annoying, and
That's
you have
the
to drive
worst.
around
That's
the outside.
the worst, man.
So yeah, it's worth getting a bit of practice in, and it's great to see that lots of people, a lot of new people as well, are really getting stuck into this, and spreadsheets are being built, and so I think it's going to be a busy week for me next week. What I'm banking on actually is that it proves so difficult. Actually, there was a lovely quote. Who was this? Was it William? Can't remember. The guy on the forum, might have been William, had this great quote about this race where they said what was the phrase? It's complete, not compete. Basically meaning it's going to be a tough one just to finish, and he's not worried too much about how well they do on the leaderboard. It's aiming more to complete the race than compete in it at the moment. And I think that's a good attitude. It is quite a tricky one. Yeah, so I'm banking on it being so difficult that I don't actually have many submissions to adjudicate.
You're banking on people rage quitting.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Lots of participation, but nobody actually finishing.
People filling in forms going, Alec, you're a wanker.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
That's all the ship names. How many?
Saturday and runs all week to the following Sunday.
Oh God, I'm going to endeavour at some point to squeeze it in. It's you see, my runs are going to have to be done after the update, and that upsets me more than you could possibly know.
Oh yeah, there's that as well. There's an update. What will be is our current policy on that.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see what happens. There might here's a question: if it just so happens that all of a sudden everything at a Thargoid base is proper aggro and the worst, and other gun-toting Thargoids jump up from under the ground and they start attacking you. If you take a screenshot of them as well, will you give me 1 minute and 30 seconds?
If you can get an on-foot Thargoid's face splattered on your windscreen, then that gets you a 2-minute bonus.
Wild.
How many attempts did it take for you to do? You've done a very helpful sort of video, sort of speed run video showing where to take screenshots and everything. How many attempts did it take for you to get that, or was that just first time lucky?
No, it wasn't the first time, but it wasn't loads. But yeah, the thing is, for a demonstration one, you want it to be. It doesn't need to be super fast as long as it's just smooth and calmly and smoothly goes through all the stages. And I was quite pleased with it for that.
Awesome.
It even includes a hyperdiction, which is nice because I wanted to illustrate that, and it includes the bug where the bloody Thargoid link won't drop to the ground, and so that was quite nice actually because I wanted to illustrate that and what to do if that happens.
Yeah, that walkthrough video is fantastic. It's so well done as well because you take that time to just sort of like zoom in at the sections, just proving the things that you need and all that. I love that. Love that for us. It's great.
Good. Yeah, that was new. I've never tried that before, but I thought I would in the video not just demonstrate the run, but demonstrate the key screenshot moments and sort of highlight what I'm looking for in those screenshots.
Yeah, no, that was awesome.
Because maybe some people might realize this, but every screenshot we ask for, it serves a purpose. So, for example, the reason we ask for the time in every screenshot is so we can put them in order and make sure that you did A, then B, then C, then D, and not the wrong way around. So the time I always look at to make sure that the set of screenshots is in the right order. And then there's things like if a race involves cargo, and you quite like people to prove that they started out without any cargo, i.e., they didn't start with the things already in their ship and sort of cheat or whatever. An easy way to do that is to get a screenshot of the commodity screen. Don't even need to be buying or selling anything particularly, but just a screenshot of the commodity screen. Because bottom right, it shows your inventory is 0. Top right, you've got the time. And top left, it shows what station you're at. So little things like that are brilliant.
Yeah, it's really, and also there are people, Brewski, who will look to see what they can do to get around it as well, and how you can bend the rules as much as possible. So it's also like an exercise in you being fastidious as well and making sure that you've not hit any loopholes or anything like that.
All the rules and all this checking, it's really not to catch cheats. I'm not aware of anyone ever actively trying to cheat. There's no prizes, so what the hell's the point? But people genuinely miss things out or do things in the wrong order or make mistakes, and if they suddenly end up winning, that's a bit embarrassing if that only comes out later, because some people put their heart and soul into trying to win, and if someone makes a mistake and wins, that's not fair. So it's really just about checking that people have done the right things in the right order, and
just keeping it fair and watching for mistakes rather than looking for cheaters. Because what would be the fucking point of cheating in a buckyball race where there's no prizes?
Quite, yeah.
I mean, clout is nothing when we find out that you've cheated. The SLV survey.
Yeah, shall I talk to this as well? Because I snuck this in. And I haven't tried it. I meant to try it, so maybe I should come back to this. But it's another one of these planetary assistance sort of third-party apps. So I've talked about a thing called SRV Tracker before. There's EDDI, which has these nice plugins, which mean that when you scan plants, it does things like when it tells you when you've walked far enough to scan the next one. Do you know what I mean? You've covered the minimum distance.
The observatory does that as well. It's awesome.
Yeah, right. And you spoke last week about something that tells you about your materials. The materials help.
Yeah.
So this is another in that vein. It caught my eye because it's available on the Microsoft Store. So it's kind of been done quite, I don't know. It seemed like quite a nice, classy, official way to download it if you're into that sort of thing. It says, I'll just read it out because I haven't tried it. It says, SRV Survey is an independent third-party app for use with Elite. It provides on-screen assistance when a player is near a planet in the SRV, on foot or in ships. And its 3 functions are tracking the location of organic scans and the distance required for next scan, ground target tracking, aiming guidance towards latitude, longitude coordinates, and at Guardian sites, it tracks visited areas and the locations of items within Guardian ruins, which sounds pretty cool. It works by analyzing journal files and uses this information to render overlay windows on top of the game, updated in real time as the player moves about. So sounds pretty cool. Just haven't tried it yet.
The screenshot on the store page looks really smart.
Yeah, it looks like it's been done very professionally. So I have
Hmm.
high hopes for it, but I just need to give it a go.
Yeah, it's definitely like one of those ones that we need to keep an eye on. And if you get a chance between Buckyball races, Alec, or at some point to give it a go, do report back on that. I might give it a go myself because it looks really
Right, will
fun.
do.
Cool. That's awesome. And just like one further piece of bits. And it's a tiny wee bit of self-promotion, but providing that update does happen, update 15 does happen on Tuesday. Hell, if it happens on Wednesday or Thursday, during that downtime section, last time there was a downtime for update 14, I was going to say me, but mostly Katie. Mostly Katie Anna put together a Elite Dangerous quiz that we did during the downtime to just fill a little bit of space. And whenever the downtime for update 15 is, that'll be over on my Twitch channel. I imagine Kate is probably writing some questions right now. But we'll see. But yeah, you're not writing them now? Okay, great. Oh no. Yeah, I'm using the lovely Psychic Owl and Simon's quiz format, so you can fill in, you can bring a team, you can participate. We did it last time and it went down really well. People got a lot out of it, so we're going to do it again for shenanigans and fun times. So I think we've spoken enough for a moment, so we're going to take a short break and then we'll come back with the in-game events.
Hey Commanders, this is Mick from Crazy Mick's Reptile Emporium and Warehouse. Due to a hysterical ordering mishap and not reading the fine print, I'm currently in possession of over 10,000 snakes, many of which are deadly, so everything must go. We have anacondas, asps, cobras, diamondbacks, floatlants, keelback, crates, mambas, pythons, sidewinders and vipers, none of which are capable of spaceflight without being strapped to a rocket. Need a pet for your cockpit? Buy a snake. Need to scare your mother-in-law and give her a heart attack for the insurance money? Buy a snake. Need to fill a beluga full of snakes to assassinate a witness on their way to a Federation courthouse? Buy many snakes. Bulk discounts are available at Crazy Mick's Reptile Emporium and Warehouse. You can find us in the Lave Business Directory or visit us at the former site of Sensible Michael's Shipyard and Outfitting Warehouse. Will somebody get these mother snakes out of my mother warehouse?
Protecting settlements from villainous scum, it's Settlement Patrolman. The action figure every child wants. Wearing the all-new Manticore Dominator suit with light-up jump assist thrusters. Press his backpack to hear Settlement Patrolman speak.
Not seen you around here before, Commander. Is that a Karma P15 in your pocket, or are you just pleased to see me? Hey, don't point that at me.
When alarms sound, Settlement Patrolman rides into action in his surface reconnaissance vehicle with pop-up turret and glow-in-the-dark wheel trims. Settlement Patrolman.
Surface reconnaissance vehicle and action figure sold separately. Available from branches of Lave Toy Depot and other retailers. Microelectrode, ion battery, and circuit switch not included.
So the in-game events, what has happened this week? Well, last Thursday, the CG that was the imps and the feds fighting was halted due to a convoy tragedy. Basically, there was some according to the Galnet, there was some anti-Xeno supply ships that got murderificated in the tussle, as it were, and everyone went, oh my god, what are we doing? We shouldn't be fighting each other when there's a great big bloody war on. Still paid off everybody all of the rewards for the CG, and then when, you know what, it's probably better that we don't fight each other when we actually fight the Thargoid threat.
That seems sensible.
Yes, yeah, I mean.
Did the CG actually get interrupted then? Kind of
No,
halted prematurely.
It just finished. It just finished like it normally finishes.
Right.
But a little bit of flavor text was like, Yeah, there's bigger fish to fly. I think the Galnet dropped at like 10 a.m. something like that, so it was a little earlier than a usual Galnet. But the conflict zones were still there for a little while. I don't know. Tick related nonsense, I would say. We also got a subsequent Galnet on the same day, confirming that Aegis's prototype Thargoid pulse neutralizers were succeeded in allowing transit through the energy surge at the center of a Maelstrom. So this was our first moment in that Albert Tesoro made a big statement saying, hey, we've done it with one some of these probes which had these Thargoid pulse neutralizers attached to them actually started returning data. And then Tanner chipped in and said, we've been fighting with them as well and using them in the place of shutdown field neutralizers, and they're working just as well. So this Galnet article did three things. It confirmed that they're coming, and it looks like we're going to be able to get to the center of the Maelstrom at some point in the not too distant future. Confirmed that it's got something to do with unclassified relics, and also confirmed that you wouldn't need to have a utility slot for a shutdown field neutralizer and a Thargoid pulse neutralizer. So in a bit of like statements, in exposition through statements, it confirmed three things, which I thought was really, really cool.
It's neat, and it kind of backs up what you were saying earlier about the reverse. You know, that both these devices seem to use a similar effect, and so it's nice that it works as a shutdown field neutralizer as well.
Absolutely, because I was sort of like, what if these and we've talked about this at length. We're going to probably talk about it at length still some more today. But what if these fancy new Thargoids that they showed off on the stream a couple of weeks back, what if they're in the center of the Maelstrom and I've taken in my Mamba, which doesn't have anything on it? If I can take in a Crate Mark II and literally switch out the shutdown field neutralizer for this Thargoid pulse neutralizer, that's going to be something else that I can take in and use.
It sort of covers what I was saying last week about the ship being laden in defensive components, so at least now you've still got some free utility slots.
Yeah. The one thing that's I find a bit worrying is the comment about its weight and power draw being greater, because my Maelstrom Chieftain is a bit low on power, so I might have to do some rethinking there.
So if we use the Xenoscanner, I mean, this might not be right, but the Xenoscanner is 4 times the power draw of the advanced Xenoscanner is 4 times the power draw of the other one. I wonder if it will be something similar, which means it won't be a huge increase, but the fact that it's not just like an advanced shutdown field neutralizer kind of makes me think that it might even be a little bit more engine or power heavy.
Yeah, we'll see. I might have to do spot of engineering, but then that makes me worry because that starts making the thing get hotter. I love all this Maelstrom stuff. There's some really nice ship build balancing going on here.
Yeah, for sure.
Proper module, you know, pros and cons, and sort of it's good. It's good stuff.
On the 28th of April, we had our monthly Thargoid War update. Kind of pointing out that we're pushing back, we're doing okay. It's that like it's slightly sort of beginning to turn around a little bit. I do want to point out one thing because it made me laugh. As for Azimuth Biotech, without the genius of salvation, they seem unable to contribute meaningfully, despite still claiming to be the leading anti-Xeno specialists. There are rumour that CEO Torben Raidmaker has been in contact with several weapons and industrial manufacturers, presumably with a view to building corporate links, to which my thoughts were, if you have the personality of a teaspoon, you are not going to get those corporate links that you need. Like, yeah, Salvation was a bit of a dick, but he was interesting with it.
he was flamboyant in his dickishness.
Flamboyantly evil.
Flamboyant evil, rather than just boring evil. We're all used to boring evil. You've got to put a bit of effort in if you want to get the proper corporate ties.
Exactly. I just don't think I don't think it's working for him because there's no personality that comes from Torben, and also they haven't done particularly well. They don't have a great track record. That old Azeroth, do they?
We haven't done this for a while, but I was just looking at the DCOH Overwatch to see how things are going generally, and there is a nice flattening of the curve of the number of Thargoids controlled systems. So they've got 1,182 systems now, which is quite a lot. But when you look at the growth curve, there's this nice flattening off.
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like, and there was a thing from AXI like that. That basically, where was it? They do like a post every sort of day, like a defense targets post, and it says they have like this image that they put with it, and it says priority all invasions repelled, and I don't think I've ever seen that any before on that. So, and there's loads of green and there's loads of positive stuff, like everyone's
we've got this.
Yeah, we've got this until Tuesday when it all ramps up and it's all going to be terrible again. We've just managed to like flatten that curve. Oh man, that's it couldn't have worked out better for them, really. That's so funny. Anyway, we had that. Then on the 1st of May, Rackham fundraiser secures political backing. And this was a really interesting article, maybe for not a lot of people, but it was for me. It was basically Rackham had a party. He held a gala ball on the day of the Met Gala. He held a gala as well for some of the Federation's wealthy and influential elite as a fundraiser because he can't use his own wealth to pay for his presidential bid. You know the deal, all of that kind of stuff. And it started mentioning like loads of names in this article, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. There's new players. There are new names being mentioned. So celebrity PR consultant Anya Black River, Elias Metaxas, Neve McFarlane, Sura Okian, and Randolph Plaskett. And I was like, oh, these are new names. This is really exciting. But no! Sura Okian is the only name that has never been mentioned before. All of the rest of them have been mentioned in Galnet articles already, like quite historical ones.
Yeah, I was listening to Pete and Jude's Galnet News Digest this morning when they recapped this, and they did a bit of a deep dive on all these people. Like one of them was the person who bought one of the Winking Cats pictures. It's great.
Yeah,
and it
Elias...
really smacked. It sort of paints a perfect picture of this sort of rich blokes celebrity, a B-list celebrity party with all these famous people from the past few years of Galnet turning up. I love it.
Yeah, it was. I was like, I must admit I didn't catch that Galnet. I will endeavour to go back and watch it, but that I was just like. When I was talking to Katie about it, and she messaged me, she's like, none of them are new, Claire. None of these people are new. I was like, oh my God, this is really clever that they sort of delved back into this history and got some new stuff and picked out these names and stuff. I just thought it was really clever and a little nod to like the history of Elite. I think that's great.
Yeah, the funny thing reading this now, because I hadn't actually read the Galnet, and reading it now, I thought, the way Wotherspoon will sort of, make stuff up a little bit or put his own spin on these stories. I thought he'd made up the "Just Like Me" slogan as a kind of nod to President Trump's sort of sloganing, and the fact that it actually says "Just Like Me" in this Galnet article is quite funny.
It's madness, isn't it? It's so it's very much our imitating life, and no one is going to miss these these little nods and references and stuff. But I am all over it. I love it so much. So yeah, that was quite exciting. That was really, really cool. And then today, in a move that I was really, really hoping for, but couldn't, wasn't too sure about, we had a CG drop on a Tuesday, and you know what that means. So the CG is a resources needed for the Thargoid pulse neutralizer. It's going to run for a week until 6 a.m. on Tuesday the 9th.
That's funny, because isn't there something happening at 6 a.m. next Tuesday?
If that's when the servers go down, I'm fine with that. But yeah, it's there's two separate CGs. There is a resource gathering CG, and there is a bounty handing in CG. Bounty handing in CG is great because there are two Hazres sites that are right next to the station where you have to hand them in, so that's really cracking. The items are a bit, there's not a huge profit to be had for the items, so it's more doing them as a labor of love than for anything else. But the resources that they need are some of like the smaller stuff. I'm very glad that they didn't say that the resources that they need include unclassified relics. Because what they're actually doing is getting the cobalt ion distributors and power converters to create a manufacturing and distribution base, as opposed to actually creating the items, which I thought was quite a fun twist on it.
Yeah. So here's what I think's interesting about this. I read some speculation on the forum just before coming on the show, actually. So the thing with this is that only the top 10 commanders, not the top 10%, the top 10 commanders will get a free Thargoid pulse neutralizer.
Mhm.
Everyone else is going to have to go to mega ships and unlock them, I guess, a bit like the caustic sinks. That's have we had one of those before where only 10 people get a free thing?
I think there's been like prestige paint jobs that have been given to the top 10 commanders.
Because the speculation that I read, which I thought was cool, is that if this thing is going to let you get past the pulse and into the center of the Maelstrom, then there's clearly a thing in the center of the Maelstrom which everyone is going to want to share on socials. There are 10 lucky people who are going to have a little bit of a head start on being the one who gets to share the picture of what's in the center on Twitter, if those 10 people happen to be that way inclined.
They haven't said where the module is going to be stored, so I would put the module on the other side of the bubble so that they've got to travel.
In Colonia.
Colonia. Yeah, the module awaits you.
Collection.
Because I'm evil.
That's
That's what I do.
Jax, get the bartender just to give you. They'll give you one of those. You have to say the special phrase to the bartender, and they'll give you a neutralizer.
But that just could be a deliberate thing of Frontier to say there's going to be, rather than hundreds of people rushing to be the first one to post screenshots of what's at the center, it could just be a deliberate ploy to give 10 people a little bit of a head start. I don't know. I thought it was an interesting bit of speculation.
Yeah, providing that they work for it. You know, you work for it and you're going to get that reward. Everyone else is going to have to make sure that stock up on, I don't know, everything, because we don't know what we're going to need in order to get there, to unlock them. Oh man, that does sound really, I really like that. I saw a little bit of like pushback on who would imagine that on the Elite Dangerous forum there is pushback from people going, oh, that's not fair. Why are you rewarding the players who aren't casual? Well, because we're going to reward them for putting in the effort and doing the more thing. Also, it also guarantees that it will get to tier 1. I'm pretty sure it will get to tier 1 anyway, but it guarantees it in this instance.
I don't know. It'll cause an interesting split because there'll be a relatively small number of people. Maybe I'm wrong, but I would have thought there'd be a relatively small number of people who reckon they could be one of the top 10. I mean, I won't. I sort of read that and thought, well, I'll do the CG, but I'm not going to do it a lot because there's no way I'm going to be one of the top 10.
Yeah,
but then I guess the people that do think they're in with a chance will really push this. Will really go for this.
The top 10 commanders so far have delivered between 9,840 and 20,384.
Where are you
So
getting
that's
that?
what you're looking at. That was what was on Inara like the last time before I refreshed it.
Okay, because I'm looking now and I'm seeing 6 million, between 6 million and 72 million, if you want to be top 10 at the moment.
That is the bounties.
So if you do the bounties, do you not
You're
get
right.
the? Do you not
I'm
get
looking at the wrong page. Thank you.
the gizmo?
Oh,
say that again, Chris.
So if you're in the top 10 of the bounty hunting one, do you also get the
Yes.
Yes. So
Yeah.
on both. Okay.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So yeah, the top 10 yeah, and that's weird as well because top 25 is saying from 10 million to 21 million. So it obviously it's going to change, but at the moment that's what it's looking like on Inara, which would mean that I'm still in the top 10 after like a couple of hours that I did earlier today, which I'm certain is not the case. I'm pretty sure I'm probably going to be in the top 50% by the time it's done. There's also going to be the top 75% of contributors will receive an Aegis paint job, one for the Clipper, one for the Federal Gunship, and one for the Alliance Crusader. So ticking off all of the superpowers on ships that aren't really used that often in Thargoid combat, but you know.
Typical Aegis.
Cool, thanks Aegis, really appreciate that. Well,
Do we know what this looks like? Yeah,
we don't. It wasn't the last thing I saw when people were asking about it on the forums was Flossie saying we might have it tomorrow.
Okay.
So fingers crossed we might have an idea what it looks like. I imagine what if it looks like a blue triangle?
It's just all triangles. Triangular.
What if Aegis Rampart is a blue triangle? Oh man, that'd be amazing. I'm here for it. Yeah, and that was the in-game events this week, which means it is that time of the week again.
Store alert!
In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art. In the bi-weekly newsletter, here come paint jobs for your art.
Nothing. Naffle. Zip. Nada.
You know what? We need like an ambient. We need Jay and Trax to do us an ambient version of the Straw Alert song, which we play when there's nothing.
Like sad music.
Yeah.
I won't sing any more of it. But yeah, hopefully it might mean that we get some new stuff with update 15. Who knows? It would be nice. It would be nice for on foot stuff to get a little bit of love. I'd love some new guns, new gun skins and stuff. Who knows? Who bloody knows? Alec?
Yeah, Chris, I just wondered if you had a chance to go back and confirm your suspicion that Arf dropped a hint about ship kits.
I am still taking it that he dropped a hint about ship kits. That's still in my head that I think we're getting ship kits, and potentially if there's Aegis paint jobs floating about.
Well recovered, I appreciate
Well recovered,
that.
sorry. If there's paint jobs floating about, there's the chance that there might be some that are, released to the public to buy in addition to the exclusives that may get released. You never know. So some of that might come along. But I'm pretty convinced that Arf put a little teaser of ship kits in there, but maybe it's wishful thinking from my side, and I'm reading too much to Arf. You're going to need to get him to raise an eyebrow when you see him on Thursday night.
I've got this. I'm all over this.
Dives Museum exclusive ship kits. We're just going to hand out codes to the people that are there, and we'll be the only people in the world to have them.
No, the last time that they did it was like all the Azimuth paint jobs that were rewards, and then there was all of a sudden there was a shit ton of Azimuth paint jobs on the on the store, wasn't there? There was all different types of. Oh man.
Yep, true.
No, there was a lot of stuff. So
That's raised my eyebrow.
Yeah, so we might get a bit of stuff going into the for Maelstrom diving or whatnot. We may get some bits that are tied in, or it's going to be drip fed for the rest of the for the update. Once it comes out, we'll be getting little bits, because on the last Frameshift they didn't have a new seasonal drop yet. That was still in the works for the Twitch drops. So we know that they are working on a new seasonal drop as well, and normally that ties into something new that goes into the store too. I think we're kind of in that little spot before the update drops where they're like, well, we're not going to throw everything out now, so,
I was expecting, I am still kind of expecting maybe tomorrow.
Ooh, could be.
Maybe tomorrow they might put out, no, not tomorrow, Thursday. Maybe Thursday they might put out something going, oh, hey, there's going to be Twitch drops next week to celebrate the launch. There's going to be something. That would be my guess. If something's coming, I think that normally the last time they did an update, there were they released the update, there were Twitch drops around it. That's my reasoning behind there might be some more Twitch drops coming.
No, it's a good way to draw people in, especially when you've got sort of new content to show off, because people love collecting their drops,
For sure. So we're going to have a break, and then when we come back, we'll come back with our main discussion.
Dreams. Humanity's dreams. The hope to live among the stars. From early times, we've gazed up to the heavens and wondered if one day we could travel there. Maybe even live there. The Brewer Corporation has made this dream a reality, constructing intricate cathedrals of metal, circling numerous planets across thousands of systems in our human bubble. Why stay rooted in a gravity well when you can be free in orbit, free to dream, free to live, and one day to become a commander and be free to blaze your own trail? Brewer Corporation, the first step into the unknown. Come join us. Be free.
New from Azimuth Biotech, it's Tickle Me Thargoid. Tickle Me Thargoid is fun for all the family. Teach your little anti-Xeno commander the difference between an Orthrus and a Cyclops, a Basilisk and a Medusa.
Count the hearts. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a Cyclops.
Teach them their weakness and how to exploit them.
Now rip out the hearts. One by one.
I don't want to.
Do it. Using the tool. Do it. Now stomp on its face. Smash its face in.
I've got them.
Tickle Me Thargoid. Available now from branches of Lave Toy Depot and other retailers.
We're going to have to do a new one of those. We'll have to do a new one of those with the new Thargoid when we find out what its name is, and all of that nonsense. With a caution on the end saying some of these have actually been found to contain razor blades.
Yeah, sharp and pointy. Yeah, watch your hands. Yeah.
Very, very sharp and pointy.
Yeah, do a product recall. That's funny.
Product recall.
Oh my god! We have to. Okay.
Sounds like a job for Turner and Fig. We'll get it sorted.
Let's write it down. Let's write it down. Okay, so as was really, really well pointed out to us last week, we got to the end of our discussion about predictions for update 15, and we'd only covered Thargoids. We'll probably cover Thargoids again today, but we literally only covered Thargoids, and we got to the end of the week and end of the session, and OKM went, yeah, well, what about Salvation? And so Janae, it's wild to think that that's not been finished yet. I was like, oh shit. So, totally avoiding the Thargoid sitch, is there anything else that either of you would either like to see or kind of predict is coming within update 15, or do you think it's going to be solely Thargoid related?
I was waiting for Chris to go, but I'll go.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the question last week that we were sort of discussing in particular was what is the thing that Arthur was alluding to that we're going to have to find for ourselves, and then we focused entirely on Thargoid stuff, and yeah, Guardian. I mean, there has to be something inside the Maelstrom.
Yeah.
So that's a given, and we've got this new Thargoid variant, so that's a given. So this is interesting because, you know, all this storyline about Salvation and Guardian is not for nothing.
Yeah.
So there is definitely, I feel like there's definitely something Guardian coming. But is it the thing that we're going to have to look for? So I will confess actually that when my buckyball race is on, and I'm allowed to do this because I'm the judge, so what the hell, I am probably going to get a few runs in, and then on Tuesday, or I suppose it'll be Wednesday, I'm probably going to leave the Pleiades and leave the racers to their business. And I think I am going to head back to Guardian space and try all sorts of Guardian stuff. And I'm going to try making Grelics. So that's the side of the game I think I might well push first in my pursuit of the thing that Arthur reckons we're going to have to look for, actually. I don't quite know what I'm expecting to find. I would love it. I've been trying to imagine, you know, today, in leading up to having this discussion this evening, how I'd like it to play out. You know, the Guardian sites are already quite sort of spooky, and you drive around them, but I'm trying to imagine what I would expect to happen. We already have, you know, things rising up out of the ground and shooting at us. I
Yeah.
haven't got a clue, to be honest. I couldn't really come up with how I wanted it to play out. But I just had my suspicions that might be a thing.
Yeah.
What if it was nothing at the ground site, Guardian? The ground sites remain the same. However, you suddenly get interdicted by something that isn't a Thargoid, isn't a commander. It's something Guardian. Similar to when the Thargoid interdiction suddenly started happening.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's a bit of a replay of
out
that
there,
scenario,
yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah,
but we haven't really, have we seen? No, we haven't really seen Guardian ships, obviously, have we? We've seen these little ground site things, but they're just
we have the fighters.
Really.
We have the fighters. We have the beacons, isn't there? There's the beacons in space.
The beacons that are like gang. Like, I'm talking to everybody right here, right now. If you haven't gone and done a Guardian beacon, if you haven't gone and experienced all of that for yourself, I don't care how many times you've watched somebody else do it. When you actually go and experience that for the first time, it is legitimately one of the more incredible sights that you can see in the game. Just the spectacle of it. The fact that you only have to do it 3 times to get all 3 ships is criminal. Because I will go back and I will do that over and over again. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's not difficult either.
No, absolutely. It's like entry level easy. You can do it in a DBX with something. It's fine. The thing for me that I just get the impression that Frontier are
itching for that hyperdiction moment, that thing to just come out of the blue, like we had back along in, I want to say it was Beyond, when we got the first Thargoid hyperdictions, and nobody knew what the hell it was, and they hadn't sung and danced about it. Like as you were saying, Alec, we are expecting to go and see something at the center of the Maelstrom.
Yeah, there has to be. I mean, the outcry, if there was nothing, there has to be. I mean,
Can you imagine if you get there and it's literally just a Hydra going, hiya!
A Hydra wearing a very big coat.
Yeah.
Actually, this is a bit
Hydras
cheeky.
in a trench coat.
This is a bit cheeky. I don't know if this is sort of off etiquette or not, but so Loose Screws were discussing this, and I was just listening to it today, and they sort of left a thought hanging, which I wouldn't mind just picking up on for a
Sure,
second.
absolutely.
Which was an intriguing idea that at the I suppose I am just assuming that what will be at the centre of the Maelstrom will be a physical object, an asset that Frontier have designed and built, which will represent the Thargoid hive ship. I've sort of convinced myself pretty much 100% that is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I need to stop because it probably won't, and I'll be horrendously disappointed. But they posited the idea that what could be at the centre is a wormhole that leads you into one of the permit-locked regions where we suspect Thargoids have their homeworlds and things. I thought it was an interesting idea that I hadn't considered. The only thing I don't like about it is that, you know, humanity is imposing the permit locks on itself. It's not a, you know, the Thargoids aren't stopping us from going to those systems. The people who issue frameshift drives are saying you can't go there, more or less. So it's a bit daft if you have to take a Thargoid wormhole to get into a system that our own bureaucracy is stopping us from visiting. That doesn't sit nicely with me, but I liked the idea.
You could have that wormhole idea and just have it take you to a corner of the galaxy that hasn't been explored yet. And then once you're there, obviously, people could pilot to it manually if they wanted to, but in order for us to get there first, you would go through the wormhole, or it would let you skip the many days of jumping to get there by using these wormholes. If you were doing that theory, I just wouldn't take it to a permit lock. There's tons of space be big.
Or you could go to a sort
you can go
of
somewhere
a
else,
region of space. You know, isn't it said, or wasn't it said, that the Thargoids live in which space? So it could kind of take us into a different dimension of the galaxy that is where they live.
The which space dimension?
Place between places. I like that idea.
What's the what's the place called at the end of Half-Life where you jump to where the Vorgons live? And
Oh, I've got no idea.
anyway, yeah,
But I know what you mean. Like, it bumps you off. It bumps you over to like this liminal space kind of thing.
yeah. Little Begin saying, "Can we not go subliminal, please?" Yeah. On the other
It was a
hand,
scary place.
Yeah, you've definitely got the potential. I think, you know, we're closer to saying that there's a base in there, aren't we? Some sort of structure.
I've convinced myself there is.
And you know, I kind of liked the idea we had last week of these smaller ships peeling off something bigger as sort of local defenders.
Oh, you're gonna do fucking spider web shit again.
Spider stuff again, just to fuel your nightmares for this evening. But I mean, I kind of like that idea. I'm not really sure. I mean, is there the chance? And I'm not really wanting to disappoint people, but is there a chance that you get through the next layer of the Maelstrom and there's yet another layer of something that you can't penetrate? You know, you're going to...
Until update 16. No, please, God, no.
You know, is there the chance, just the smallest of chances, that you get through the fog to see that beyond that, there's some sort of static shield that protects the next bit? You can see it. You just can't go there yet.
There's a water layer that we have to get through, and then there's a hot jelly layer that we.
Yeah, there's an outer membrane and this thing, and then at the very, very, very middle is salvation in a mech suit for some reason. I don't know. It's I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure.
We're back to Thargoids again, by the way.
I know it's fine. It's not a problem. It's absolutely not a problem. So my I kind of think that you might be right, but not in the way that you think. In that we will be able to we will be able to do a lot of things. We will be able to see everything that's there, but potentially some of the stuff we might not be able to either defeat or let's say defeat pretty heavily, or like correctly interact with until there's more stuff that's made or more interactions that have been made, more investigations, because it's pretty safe to say at this point, given everything that all of the information that we've got, it can be expected that update 15, I almost said update 16 then, that would have been bad. Update 15 will take us to the center of the Maelstrom. What is at the center of the Maelstrom might not be something that we can fully interact with until we've done all of our research. Like, we might need to find the USB slot on the ship so we can smoke our cigars at the end of the movie.
Develop a USB adapter.
Yeah, exactly. There's this ultra mega Thargoid USB adapter, which is 1 ton of cargo space that you fit in place of like the docking computer or the supercruiser.
When we started this discussion and we're talking about Guardian stuff, I was sort of listing the things that seemed like they're definitely going to happen. I was thinking, I wonder if this salvation stuff can just continue to play out, and that's what update 16 is going to be about. It's possible, isn't it? I feel like they could drag out the salvation stuff till update 16.
Yeah, like Sarah Janae could just keep drip feeding us information. We could get a couple of we could find a couple of other Thargoid experimentation bases that Salvation or Azimuth used or Caleb Wycherley used back in those days, so we start to get an even rounder idea of what this man went through in his very long life to feel that he could face everything, but then still had to upload himself into a computer. I find him a fascinating character.
Yeah. You could have some voice logs to discover. You could have a Galnet or something where there's some voice logs and you have to travel quite a long way. And it's just a random commander's reporting of hearing something weird at a Guardian site or a voice that seemed to be half human, or, they could tease that for a long time, actually.
Absolutely. And the thing is, we should, when we get to the center and we start getting there may potentially be new Thargoid sounds and new Thargoid noises that we hear, because they've had the sound team on and all of that stuff, that it's a possibility that there will be new interesting like translations that Sarah comes up with.
Yeah, no, that would be really, really neat. I would like, if we're going to be going about and finding new bases potentially with information about what Salvation's been up to, I would really, really like for it to be some stuff we can investigate on foot, rather than it being using the SRV to scan data points on the outside of the buildings. Those sort of shipping container type temporary bases. I would really like for us to be able to sort of cut into one and download some data off a pad on the inside or a console on the inside. I may be a bit ambitious in my wish there, but I would really like for it to have a little bit of on-foot involvement.
I can't decide if I've had a complete brain fart here and just forgotten something that's obvious. On foot, do we have any kind of on-foot data scanner?
We don't know.
We don't, do we?
We don't. We'd have to we'd have to discover that and then equip it, or like add it to our Dyson or something as a secondary option.
If you had again, sorry, I'm about to turn it Thargoid again. I'm so sorry. If there was Thargoid stuff on the ground, then you could potentially use the genomics scanner. The BIOS scanner would be able to get readings off of that, because they the ships and everything that they use seem to be very organic. So there's a chance that you could use that, but you're right, Alec. We don't really have a scanner apart from it's not the manifest scanner, the profile cloning.
Yeah,
let me check if I'm allowed to murder you scanner. That one.
We don't have the equivalent of the SRV's data link scanner.
Yeah, because normally we just interact with the console.
Yeah, to get the data, absolutely. Now, this is going to sound like me going backwards and stuff that I've said before. I don't like the idea of gatekeeping lore in Odyssey content.
Oh, okay. I get you. But have we not?
I'm fine with on-foot content as far as like something adding and giving extra dimension. But if you want, I feel like the story you should still be able to access in Horizons and some of those data points for now, at least. I feel like it should still be. And I didn't think that I would agree, I would believe that until you started saying I want it on foot.
Yeah, I see it. When this is going back a long way, and I honestly can't remember when Horizons first came out. So being able to use the SRV was effectively, content gatekept by a DLC that was optional.
Mm-hmm.
When did things like logs at Dav's Hope appear? Because was that effectively gatekeeping lore behind the Horizons update?
Well, it definitely would have done.
I suppose it did, didn't it? Because they were there pretty much from the outset. I feel like some things like logs, or some of the logs, were there pretty much from the beginning.
Well, anything that was on Horizons content and stuff that you scanned, so like Jameson's logs and stuff, you would only have been able to access as soon as you could land on planets and drive around in your SRV. So that effectively would have hidden stuff. That stuff was only available to people who bought the Horizons content.
So there is precedent for doing it.
Yeah, absolutely, there is.
What if I promise to tell a reporter for Vox Galactica what I find?
I don't know. I don't know why I'm fine with. I don't know whether I would have been fine with that back in the day, but then I wasn't playing. I only played Elite after Horizons dropped, so that's all I know. So maybe I've accused so many people of looking back with rose-tinted goggles. Maybe I am the one with the rose-tinted goggles in this instance, and I'm looking back thinking that's never been done before. But I mean, not all logs aren't on the ground, because all of the generation ships are logs that you can scan from your ship.
Mm-hmm. It's only some of the INRA ground bases where you need to get out in the SRV to get some of
all
the
of the
logs.
Abandoned bases, all of the INRA bases, you have to
get out and scan. And there was a few other sort of interesting sites that you could sort of go to and scan in an SRV.
Like the Formidine Rift sites and stuff like that, all over in that way is all SRV stuff until you get to the Zahara. I want to say Zahara. I might be wrong with that. At the end of that, I don't know why I feel differently about it being. I don't know why I feel differently about it being in Odyssey content. Maybe it's to do with.
It's interesting, isn't it?
The launch.
So if there was a data terminal that you walked up to inside a building on foot and you scanned it and got a lovely voice acted log, you'd have a bit of a problem with that, because it feels like, it's interesting.
Yeah, I think I might, unless
I can't decide if I do or not, but I see where you're coming from.
But are you not? I mean, because some of that is going to be locked behind as well for the Maelstrom content that we're going to be getting, for example, is all none of that is updating in the old game anymore.
No, it's only on the live server. So
it's
everything
only on
at the
live.
moment I believe everything at the moment in the Maelstroms you can still see if you're on like Horizons 4.0. I believe.
Okay.
I might be wrong about that.
Because I've not been I've not been on Horizons 4.0 to check what
No,
is
me
and
either.
isn't.
It's a good point,
part
actually,
of the
because
system.
the stuff that was going on in HOP 22460, so being able to see the aftermath of the Proteus device, I don't think you see that in Horizons 4.0. Do you?
I don't know.
Maybe you do.
I don't know. I don't know. I do 100% believe that there should be Odyssey content for sure. There should be stuff that you have to do on foot that is available to do in settlements. I think that that should be content, and I feel like that should that should like give to the base, it should like give to the Thargoid war effort, all of that kind of thing. That I'd love to see. I don't know how I feel about lore in that, but maybe I just like a good story.
Yeah, I mean, I want it to be as open as possible to everyone, but then I've also got this craving for more of the Odyssey stuff to be able to be utilised going forward. It's that conflict in my head, and I do have the same sort of thing as you, Psychic, which is that you want as many people as possible to be able to feel part of the narrative and enjoy part of the narrative. Yeah. But then I'm going, I really want to get out and use some of these different tools that you've given me to investigate in a different way. It opens more possibilities for you to interact with stuff that you don't at the moment with having just a simple point and scan device.
It's really weird, isn't it? I feel really, really conflicted about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go really sort of beyond, like we've sort of talked about using the SRV or being on foot or being in ship in order to discover stuff. You know, having that sort of teamwork collaboration thing that they quite like pushing now, where things can only be accomplished if you've got a few people to take part. Having something where you needed an SRV and someone on foot and someone in a ship, or that sort of I don't know, there's a triangle, it's free involvement there, to get involved in order to activate a thing or to really enable sort of data collection. But then again, that's putting solo players, you know, like when I play, the majority of the time I play by myself when I'm on Elite. So then that locks content behind where it's like, oh, right, I've got to arrange for someone to come along with me to enable this, to shoot this or put something else in. So yeah, I don't know. I'm massively conflicted.
It's weird, isn't it? Because I think I would be the first person to say yes, we need everything in we need to push the new content. We need to push the new content, absolutely. But it's and why, like, it's so hard. Like, if they're not going to start pushing content and pushing everything forward in Odyssey, what's the fucking point?
Yeah,
you know,
it then makes it look like a failed experiment. Sort of, we
Exactly.
added on foot, but then we didn't really have we didn't want to tie it into the rest of the stuff. We sort of created the base assets there. We could have done it, we didn't, and then it stopped. And then you're like, oh well, that's not quite what we want. You know, we want to be able to use it, but then, you know, the only way to encourage people greatly to jump in is, you know, tying it to the lore, tying it to that bigger story, I think, in order to make it relevant. Be that collecting materials from sites or data, or, you know, investigating in that way. Speaking to NPCs that might be lying around or wandering around somewhere. You know, imagine a Aegis site where they're investigating something on the ground and you can talk to an NPC and get a bit of information off them. That'd be quite a cool new sort of technique. Rather than scanning, rather than going up to a terminal or whatnot, there's an actual person that you can go, hey, what's up? What are you doing?
Yeah.
I have no idea how to count the results, but can we ask for people in chat to throw
I tried to make a poll, but we can't do it here
Right.
on
Right.
Lave in Twitch because
Never mind the
of
poll,
not
but
having an affiliate.
let's just get a sense maybe. So if people are fine with gatekeeping information behind the Odyssey update, then stick something like #gatekeep it in chat. And if you think lore and voice logs and things should be accessible by everyone, then stick something like
Hash
info
Oddie, hash law, hash HOR.
freedom of info. #gatekeep it or freedom of info.
Wild.
Oh, audience are going strongly on Gatekeeper.
Strongly on Gatekeeper.
Very strongly. Sod it, there you go.
I'm joining in with the Gatekeepers, I
Lock
think.
it behind Odyssey.
I'm conflicted, but I'm still think I'm edging on that side of it.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Wow.
Wintermute is standing alone. As,
Yeah.
freedom of info.
Yeah, Renfield saying, but I feel bad for console players who have no choice. Totally appreciate that.
Yeah.
Totally, absolutely appreciate that. By all means, it's
like you say, the info will be out there. It'll be in Galnet. It'll be out there. It just means you won't be able to go and interact with some of these logs. But hey ho, I mean,
yeah, you won't be able to discover it for yourself or view it for yourself. But
yeah, pretty much unanimous, almost. The audience is biased. Says,
the audience is biased. You've got 3 people chatting here going, "Oh, I don't know if we want that," and you all went, "Yeah, no, we definitely do."
Yeah.
We are not in an echo chamber today, guys.
Yeah, we've heard what the 3 of you have said. We all disagree.
Don't know what they're talking about.
God.
Don't know why they're conflicted.
Right? Like we've literally just been told you're so wrong. Incredible. That is, oh my gosh, that's totally shocked me. That has genuinely totally shocked me that people that feel that way. Yeah, that's fine. Go for it. Fill your boots.
Yeah. The only difference might be if you cast a wider net. I suspect, and
Keep
I might
an
be
eye
wrong.
out for a tweet.
Yeah. Oh, good
Keep
point.
an eye out for a tweet. We're doing things like that where we're gathering more information via tweets.
Let's do it. Like it.
And we'll pop a tweet out for, I don't know, sometime in the week. I don't know, I'll schedule one to go out, but with a thingy bob, gatekeep it or freedom of info, and we'll see what happens from there. That's really interesting, and we will report back next week for sure.
And then we'll print the results and we'll call it a petition and we'll take it to, I don't know,
Absolutely,
the Science
we
Museum or somewhere like that.
fucking won't. No, not a chance. Hell no, not on my watch. No petitions or open letters here. So yeah, speaking of tweets, absolutely speaking of tweets, we had some we popped some tweets out into the ether, and we've got some suggestions from you. Chris Mockfall went through and picked out some of the tweets. I might open it up and have a look at some other ones if we get through these very quickly. So we were the listener suggested via Twitter suggested that this new variant will be focused towards the Maelstrom. We had Wintermute, who said it's a dedicated fighter to protect whatever is in the Maelstrom. As for its name, it's Cerberus, who, in Greek mythology, protected the gates of Hades and was also the brother of Orthrus.
Oh, that's good on the name.
Great theory for the name, isn't it?
Great theory for the name. I love that.
If it's not that, Frontier have just kicked themselves.
Like, the thing that's going to be really funny is when we've all gone through these Greek mythological names, and Frontier are like, yeah, no, it's not. It's not. It's got we've gone with a brand new naming strategy, and we'll be like, you bitches.
It's called the Thargoid Scout Mark II.
Yeah, that's what it is. Oh my gosh. It's such a good name. We had Elvis Kremen, who said F you up focused, bless him for not using fuck, in the Maelstroms, protecting what I reckon are motherships / hives, and called a Skilla, maybe. Skilla is another Greek monster of some kind.
Yeah, I feel I recognise Skilla from Jason and the Argonauts, or
Yeah, I think so.
other such learned reading.
Elevator Music says, looks like a fighter. So naturally, I'm curious about which Thargoid platform this craft emerges from.
I'm just going to kill your spider nightmares.
By another Thargoid. It could. The more I look at it, the smaller it looks.
Here's one. How about if you've ever been to the Thargoid surface structures, if you go right on top, there's like a sort of iris that's permanently shut.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where these are going to pop out from. The iris spirals open, and these pop out.
That completely and utterly fucks your buckyball.
It's gonna make it awesome. I so hope that's happening. That'd be amazing. Can you imagine?
There's going to have to be one race chart for pre-update and one race chart for post-update, getting attacked by several of
Take a
these.
screenshot of every Cerberus that attacks you and get a 30-second bonus for each one.
1 minute 30, Alec. Come on. Especially if I'm in my Cobra, I need that. Scott 9720. If we pay attention to the roleplay of each design, from the bugs, scouts are the swarms, the endless waves of enemies, the small class interceptors, the hardcore heavy hitters, or large class vessels. The new one could fill the role of the medium heavy hitter, you could say. But there's also serious speculation that it could be a cold orbit hunter. I don't know what that means, cold orbit hunter. It hunts people who do cold orbits?
It wouldn't be on your scanners. It would be like cold running, like we are at the moment, to get around them. They developed the same technique to attack us. So suddenly you being able to sneak around them is slightly diminished by the fact that they're doing the same trick to you.
So it's all done by visuals.
Silent running Thargoid.
Yeah, okay. I read this the other way around, that it was a ship that wouldn't fall for the cold orbit technique, and would.
It could be that as well. Yeah, it could be both. It doesn't fall for it, and you can't see it.
That's wild. I love that.
Especially now.
That's scary.
Especially now, folk have got turreted and gimbaled Thargoid pew guns. It means that if it didn't appear on sensors, or it was very tricky to get it on sensors, those would become less effective.
Yeah, and you wouldn't be able to. It would effectively be now interceptor combat has become more accessible for everyone. Now, okay, let's give AXI a challenge with this new variant.
Yeah. Because even if you milled them in with the existing scouts, they become an issue because your turrets and whatnot wouldn't be able to automatically pick them out.
Yeah. Fascinating. Oh, that's a really good idea.
Right.
I love that.
Question, actually, because I've heard this around various corners of the community. Do you think that the top-end Thargoid kind of AXI combat, the sort of end game for top tier players in Thargoid combat, do you think it needs raising, or do you think that's small enough a minority that it's hard enough, and we don't need a new, even harder level for the even smaller number? Well, not smaller number, but the number of people that can solo a Hydra is relatively small, I would have thought.
Yeah.
But I hear some of the people who can do that and do it a lot saying we need something new for us to do, and I'm not convinced the game does need that.
I think that's going to be your penetrating the Maelstrom and dealing with whatever might be inside of there, isn't it? Because then your ship has got to be balanced enough to get through the Maelstrom plus attack whatever's in the middle. So you wouldn't be able to go in with your all guns blazing build. You've then got to scope it for that, I guess. So it's maybe not giving you. It's maybe not giving you an extra challenge, as in, it's not giving you an extra, like a different. So it's a different type of encounter where you've got to be balanced in order to get through in the first place, rather than the rest. Maybe, I don't know. I know from my point of view, I am useless at Thargoid combat. I find the ground base one's easier because you've not got the sort of swarms that are absolutely picking you to pieces. But yeah, the AXI pilots are absolutely amazing at what they do, so I can understand why they might want a slightly different challenge.
It's again, it's one of those things where you're going to please some people. Some people are going to be really happy with a bigger challenge, and some people like us who fight in groups of 12 might struggle with a bigger challenge, especially if these are the things that are beginning to interdict us. The word hunter scares the shit out of me on that. I don't know why. It just like sends it like the idea that would be chasing me through space as opposed to something that just appears and then I can get away from. Like does genuinely concern me. That's really interesting. Really interesting. We have Commander Seawolf, who said that once Update 15 and the new neutralizer is released, they suspect that we will find swarms of these pouring out of the house ship or whatever is at the center of the Maelstroms.
I want that.
Just the
I want
terminology, isn't it? Pouring. The image pouring.
Swarms.
Swarms and pouring.
Everything hurts. Everything hurts. Everything hurts all over my skin. Why is this happening?
It's just, like visions of ever actually winning a bucketball championship. Shay ruined this for me a couple of weeks ago by pointing out that the game probably can't handle swarms of ships like that.
Oh man,
Which is
Shay.
Yeah. Ruined it.
You never know. You never know. Update 15, it might.
I mean,
that depends if we get like an 80 gig update.
That's the advantage of the Maelstrom, though. Maybe you know how you've got that sort of fog, the ambient fog in a Maelstrom.
Yeah.
If that limits your field of view, and they're
use
able
that limited draw distance.
Exactly, you could use that limited draw distance potentially to allow you to upscale the amount of, I was going to say AI creatures, like NPC Thargoid ships in there potentially. I don't know. I'm not a game developer, so maybe I'm absolutely
I would say
making that up.
this is a bit unfair, but I would say I have a gut feeling that Frontier aren't very good at that. So the way ground sites seem to work, I don't get the sense that there's any optimization in that regard, so my PC grinds to a halt, and it's not because of the 2 NPCs on foot that I can actually see, it's because of the 50 that are scattered all around the site, some inside buildings and some outside buildings, that the game is furiously trying to update all at once, even though I can only see about 3 of them.
I feel like that's engine limitations, possibly. I don't know
Maybe.
anything about programming.
Yeah. And I guess
feel like they're brilliant at that kind of optimization. It feels like that Frontier like to take a very literal approach, and if there's 20 NPCs, then the game is busily updating 20 NPCs.
And then add into that our own ships, because we'll be going in there together en masse. So
yeah,
I guess even if you limited my field of view, the fact that Psychic's maybe in the same instance as me, you've got to res everything that Psychic can see as well.
Yeah.
Or at least pass that information, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's also sharing positioning of everyone to everybody else. There's a lot of things that go on. It all depends what's in the center, really. If it's just like what if it's just like some giant big eye and that's it, and it's like, hello.
That's another creepy one as well.
That's another creepy one. I went creepy. I went creepy for some reason.
It's that closed bit in the middle of the crash structure that just opens up and it's a big eye.
What's the Douglas Adams thing about last message from God? We'll get through we'll get to the final bit of the Maelstrom, and there'll just be a little signpost floating in space that says, "We apologise for the inconvenience."
Oh my god. Oh my god. I fucking love that so much. Out for lunch or something. BRB, lads, something like that. Wild. That's so cool.
No junk mail, please.
No cold callers.
No cold callers.
We have Celine Stardragon saying a space superiority interceptor in the Star Wars sense, found in Maelstrom systems, and her current hypothetical name is Seraphim.
No, I don't know where that comes from. But,
Seraphim sounds too angelic.
Does.
Sounds like a cream that I should be taking.
It's an angel, isn't it? Type one of the angels. Oh, my knowledge is very bad at stuff. There you go. Put that on my epitaph.
If only I had Google available to me.
If only we had Google available. Oh man. Anyway, that ship sailed. Not Phineas. Has said it's called a hedge clipper. We had murder flowers for far too long without gardeners, so we now have hedge clippers.
Does track.
Incredible. And then Marina Oatmeal said, Thargoid kitten requires head pats. You can find them at your local Interstellar Cafe. Which was also very lovely. We also had plenty. If you go to the Twitter and go and find that original post, which will be linked in the show notes, there are some other bits and pieces there, including some trawly ones, but it's all good. It's like people going, why is this showing up on my feed? Because you follow like 3 people and it's got to populate it with something. Because that's how the algorithm works. But yeah, thank you so much for getting in touch. We're going to be putting more stuff out on Twitter for community responses. We'd love for you to get in touch with us anywhere. We read everything, and well, I at least read everything, and we will continue to include them in the show when we can. Moving on to our mostly clueless, Alec.
Oh, it's one of mine. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. Let me just read this because I sent this in ages ago. Yes. So I was floundering around on the system map a while back, looking for. So you can. Let me think. How does this work? You can filter the galaxy map on services, I believe. So you can show systems that have an interstellar factors. But it's not as simple as that, because when you get to the system and there's multiple stations, what I often find is that the first and most obvious station I go to, the big Coriolis closest to the star, doesn't have interstellar factors, and then I get very annoyed and think the game's broken, and I go off somewhere else or look for third-party sites that tell me where I can find interstellar factors. Anyway, it turns out in the system map that when you select, this is in the new Odyssey UI, when you select a station, the information about what services that station has is available, but it's under the icon that's labeled planetary information, which is why I'd never spotted it. So yes, you pick your station, and then on the right-hand panel, you go down to the icon that says planetary information, and that shows you information about what services stations offer, apparently.
I've never used that before. I didn't even know it existed.
I've got so used to using third-party tools in order to find the nearest whatever it is that I need.
It's always interstellar factor.
More,
it is.
More often than not, yes. Or occasionally finding the right material trader, I guess.
And I think there's a catch, isn't there? While we're talking interstellar factors, I seem to remember you always go to the nearest interstellar factor, which typically is in a station owned by the faction against whom you've committed crimes, and then they still won't let you pay off your bounty. Is that right?
Or even if you have, even if they don't even need to own the system, if they have a presence in that, if they're present in that system, you have to, you can't go to the interstellar factory. You can't pay off a fine at the interstellar factory in that system. So unless you know for a fact that they're not present in the one right next door. Oh, fun fact: the CZ faction, the closest interstellar factor, they're not in that system. So you can go to the closest interstellar factor and it's fine in the CZ system. Found that out today when I accidentally shot something I shouldn't have. But yeah, if they're present in the system that you're going to try and clear your bounty via an IF, you cannot do it. You have to find one which the issuing party are not present.
And also, you can be too notorious as well. You can be too hot to handle, even for an interstellar factor.
Can you not? No, you have to die.
You have to die or be.
You have to die, but you still have the
arrested,
notoriety.
I guess, but the notoriety lingers for quite a bit. I may have
Yeah.
found out by, visiting a couple of settlements and accidentally, I don't know, tripping over some adhesive and maybe killing
a few thousand people, yeah.
I think we all do the same thing, don't we? We do a stealth mission or an assassination, and it goes wrong, and a guard shoots us, and you think, well, if you're going to shoot me, I'm going to shoot you, and before you know it, you've shot about 20 innocent people, and then you wonder why you've got notoriety. That's why.
Yeah, that's absolutely why. That's Mostly Clueless. We have a form for Mostly Clueless. I'm going to add that to the show notes to make sure that if you have any Mostly Clueless ideas, fill in the form and we will share them, because we haven't done one for a little while because we'd forgotten where it was. But we will endeavour to do more of them now. We're just going to move on to any other business right at the end. Hey, Chris, are you doing your radio show on Sunday?
I will be doing my radio show on Sunday on Black Diamond FM, 12 till 2, blackdiamondfm.com if you want to have a listen to that, or 107.8 FM. Yeah.
Woohoo! We did it! We got through a show and managed to make you promote yourself. Also, very, very, very side note, I complete an orbit around the sun on Sunday. And I'm having a little bit of a birthday stream, and I'm dropping some mean news on Friday. If anybody is interested, on my Twitch channel, we're having a birthday. I'm having a bit of a birthday stream and celebration. That's twitch.tv/psychic. You don't feel obliged to come. That's absolutely fine. Also, we're also having a little meetup in Bristol in, when is it? July? July the 1st, I believe. We're having a little meetup in Bristol in July the 1st. I think it's July the 1st.
If you say it with confidence, I'll put the version with confidence in the podcast.
We're having a meeting in Bristol in July the 1st.
Thank you.
all the details are on there on my Discord, which you can find through my website or psychic.tv or like any other places. With that said, let's round up the show with that crazy little bit of self-promotion there. I'm so sorry about that. I never do that. That felt really weird. I'm very sorry. Our sister station, Hut and Orbital Radio, broadcasts on Thursdays from 8:30. You can tune in at twitch.tv/Hut and Orbital Truckers, or for just the audio at radio.forthemug.com. For the discerning commander who likes a bit of CQC action, you can check out the CQC Discord at discord.me/Elite Dangerous CQC. We're also giving shout outs to the following Elite Dangerous podcasts. We have the Guard Frequency, who also cover other space games, and our friends over at Loose Screws. Following this, we have the latest Galnet News Digest, as provided by Commanders Wotherspoon and Commander Beetlejuice. Thank you to those who have chipped in on Twitch chat and our in-game commanders. Our in-game commanders, we have had Chris,
Siberius, William Solo, Electro 4CE, Rich 1986. Rich, is it Ace? Oh, right. Electro Ace. Rich 1986 Rich, and Commander Ventura has finally made it to Lave Station for the end of the show.
Woohoo! Incredible! That is it for another episode of Lave Radio. If you would like to get in touch with the show, then you can find all of our contact links in the home contact us menu of the laveradio.com website. Do let us know if you have any questions or if there's anything that you'd like us to discuss in a future episode. Lave Radio is recorded live on a Tuesday evening at 8:30 p.m. UK time and streamed out at laveradio.com/live. Thank you to Alec.
Thank you all. See you the other side of update 15.
Oh my God, that's update 4. Like, hopefully, fingers crossed, everything permitting. Thank you to Chris Mark 4.
You're welcome.
And a special thanks to today's tech specialist, the Chris Mark 4.
You're welcome again.
Yeah, amazing. Commanders, we will see you on the other side of update 15. And if you please fly safe. And if you can't do that, fly dangerous.
Is your life like this? Sounds like someone having an orange inserted. Need a safe word. Space can be done. I'm gonna see the galaxy.
Ah, damn it. No worries, guys. Hold the fort for 2 seconds. I'll be right back.
Galnet News Digest, 2nd of May 3309. We read the news so you don't have to. In this week's news, Aegis offers golden tickets to the heart of the Maelstrom as it prepares to mass-produce its new pulse neutralizer. And Calico Zach Rackham gets serious in his bid to become the next president.
Aegis has announced an initiative to build manufacturing facilities for the new Thargoid pulse neutralizer, and the top 20 contributors will get a golden ticket to be the first to get to the heart of the Maelstrom. The initiative comes in 2 parts: to deliver cobalt, ion distributors and power converters to Clement Orbital in the YZ SETI system, and to protect those making the deliveries. And the top 10 delivery drivers and the top 10 bounty hunters will all get a Thargoid pulse neutralizer gifted to them by Aegis, putting them in pole position for the race into the Maelstrom on Tuesday or Wednesday next week. Everyone else will probably need to gather the materials and commodities required to unlock the modules at a tech broker. Unless, against all precedent, Aegis decides to make them available for credits only. Professor Albert Ezra appears to have dropped a massive hint when she repeated loudly and in a clear voice that the key component of the neutralizer is unclassified relics, which are created by loading Guardian relics into the Thargoid device at the centre of Thargoid surface sites. Many commanders have previously sold unclassified relics to Ramtar and Professor Palin, and it has been those relics that have been used during the development and prototyping of the neutralizer. The neutralizer works like a shutdown field neutralizer, and pressing the trigger at just the right moment is likely to take some practice. Caustic sink launchers, which are already available to unlock at tech brokers and which can then be bought at rescue ships, will also be essential equipment for those planning to dive into the Maelstroms. Unfortunately, those require a number of materials and a commodity that can only be harvested from the fringes of the Maelstroms. Aegis says that the pulse neutralizers will, like the caustic sink launchers, be sold at rescue ships once they have been unlocked. The Federation's military liaison to Aegis, Admiral Daniel Parry, claimed that penetrating the Maelstroms will be the most significant breakthrough in the war against the Thargoid invasion, with our future tactics likely dictated by what we discover there. For those not lucky enough to get a golden ticket to the heart of the Maelstrom, there's a consolation prize. The top 25% of participants will get exclusive Aegis paint jobs for the Imperial Clipper, the Federal Gunship and the Alliance Crusader. Presidential candidate Zachary Rackham has started his campaign fundraising in earnest with a gala fundraiser in Tau Ceti. Rackham is not permitted to use his vast personal wealth to fund his campaign and must rely on donations from other federal citizens and organisations. He's gained some influential backers, including former Republican Congressman Harlan Turk from Duamta, who has walked across the floor of the House to become Rackham's running mate. Several independent congressmen have also declared in support of Rackham, and it appears that fellow magnate Sir Randolph Plaskett is likely to provide some of the financial backing that Rackham has been seeking. Also present at the ball were media magnate Elias Metaxas, who was in 3307 briefly in possession of Zoe Akaki's famous artwork, Terra Absentia, which he had bought from the notorious thief, the Winking Cat, and Neve McFarlane, the proprietor of the Sol Today newsfeed. Campaign coordinator Anya Blackriver also managed to draft in media personalities, including the icecaster Sura Oyakan. Rackham has used his wealth and influence to rename the historic Taylor colony settlement, Fort Falconrath, to Fort Rackham. As with the Beta Hydri system, many popular landmarks in Tau Ceti have recently been renamed in Rackham's honour. Given McFarlane's presence at the ball, it is unsurprising that Sol Today has come out in qualified support of Rackham. It is distributing red baseball caps bearing the Rackham campaign slogan, "Just like me." It suggests that after Hudson leaves office, someone fresh and untainted by political experience might be best for the Federation, and asks its viewers if Rackham might be just what the Federation needs to make it great again.
And that's this week's Galnet News. Galnet News, we read the news so you don't have to.